Hello, so I'm going to be expanding on your topic. I know that you were talking about the importance of stretching and all its health benefits. I did find an article that kind of allows us to really think about what kind of stretching is important for an individual's goals. So it can't just be any type of the four stretchings that the book demonstrated. Um, so I wanted to really detail in on that importance. So the book, well, okay. So the article I'm going to be talking about is Resistance Training versus Static Strengthening Effects on Flexibility and Strength by Sam Modern and James Whitehead. So what they do is they take 25 individuals and they split them into two groups. They have a resistance training group and a static stretching group to determine whether is stretching really necessary for a range of motion and flexibility when compared to something many individuals in modern society do. The reason they picked these two as opposed to any of the other three stretchings that were mentioned within the book was because, as also mentioned in the book and the article, static stretching is the most popular form of stretching, and it doesn't warm up the muscles. So that would be something to really look at when you are debating what is the best fit for one of the clients or yourself or an athlete. And they also chose resistance training as opposed to another form of exercise because it is the most common and popular and growing exercise within our society now. This was published in 2011, December 2011. So I think resistance training has amplified throughout the years. So what they found, I found to be shocking. Well, I'll go more into the procedure. So the resistance training, I mentioned there was resistance training, static stretching, and then there was a controlled group who didn't participate in anything. All these clients had to meet the protocol that they were inactive individuals until this study was done. So what they had them do was they measured their baseline, whether it was with the sit and reach test and all the things mentioned within the book, to determine whether, or just determine their current flexibility and measure the differences from the end of this trial. This was a 5-week trial, and they did this 3 days of each week, so 15 total sessions. And what I have to say is that the resistance training individuals did participate in a warm-up and then the training, and they were not allowed to do any other form of stretching, any of the other 3 forms and static stretching throughout these 5 weeks. And the static stretching group did not participate in a warm-up, so that is a con, as we have previously stated. And they did do this for 25 to 30 minutes per session. They had equal sessions, and the results were rather shocking. So I would have thought, because I think it's a common belief to think that, stretching will improve flexibility and range of motion, and it's important for an individual to do that. But they measured knee extension flexibility, hip flexibility, hip flexion and extension flexibility, shoulder flexibility, and hamstring flexibility. And what they found was that there was no difference. There was no significant difference between static stretching group and the resistance training group, which I found very interesting because I know many of us participate in resistance training. It is very common. I don't think many of us participate in static stretching. I know it's something that I tend to skip. I think I have little to no time, so I don't fit it in there. So I was wondering if that could be harmful, but according to the study, it's not. That doesn't mean I should not participate in stretching, though. That means that I would have to look at the other 3 stretches within the chapter and determine what is beneficial for an individual who is just more on looking for a health related benefit participates in resistance training and some aerobic training, but again, not athletic goals, because that would differ tremendously. So I thought it was interesting to know. The other important thing to mention is that individuals who did participate in either the static training or the resistance training did see significant increase in flexibility and range of motion when compared to the controlled group. It's just that the resistance training and the static stretching did not really show significant difference. Actually, in one, I think that would be the knee extension flexibility. It was the resistance training showed a slight increase in comparison to the static stretching, but it was nothing that would be like significantly improving. I also have to mention that the people who participated in this were both male and female, and so I think it was pretty accurate to say that they had a variety of, it wasn't just men or women. So I thought that was important to note, and that's my discussion.